Hello.
Hello and welcome back to the channel. By now you'll know that something has happened to us this week and that we've had quite a difficult week, and we feel that we really need to explain everything to you. So that's what this vlog is about. But before we do that, I just want to say thank you, and I know Graham does as well, for all the kind messages and support that people have sent to us this week. It has really helped what has been a very difficult time for us. So we feel obviously we need to try and begin to explain to you what has happened. We owe it to you to do that.
So we had a good, we were supposed to have 4 or 5 days on the Isle of Arran, but due to ferries and weather we were only there for a couple of days. But we came back from Arran and we stayed up near the ferry port near Ardrossan, and some things had happened at home and we really needed to get home quite quickly. So we drove a hell of a lot the next day. We drove all the way down to a place called Altrincham, which is Greater Manchester, I believe.
Yeah.
And we were looking for a site there, weren't we?
That's right. Essentially, it was one of those things where you try and do it on the hoof, as it were. And I'd looked through quite a few sites on Search for Sites, and there was always like a reason why not to use certain sites, like boy races, or you'll be woken up by industry early in the morning, or not a very nice area, and all sorts of different things. Anyway, I hit upon the one that Graham's already told you where we went to, and it had really good reviews. It seemed to be exactly what we were looking for. A fairly small site surrounded by trees with a beautiful dog walk just through a little gate.
It's right on the Pennine Way, actually.
Yeah, and yet not too far off the motorway, so we knew that we could get back on the road early the next day to get home in time. So that was the plan, and we both agreed that was a good site, so that's where we turned up.
The only thing we weren't too happy about was we did get there after dark, which we don't really like to do, but we had no choice. The traffic was awful and the rain was awful, and we just got there a bit late. So we took the doggies for a walk, had something to eat after that, and settled in for the night. We watched I'm a Celebrity, didn't we?
Had a bit of a laugh.
Yeah, it was quite a fun thing to do, wasn't it? And a
couple of cars came and went during the evening, but no trouble was there. They just came and went after about an hour. And another motorhome turned up, didn't it? And parked away from us, the other side of the car park, really. But it's only a fairly small car park, to be fair.
Yeah, I'll put pictures up of this so you can actually see what it looked like. So we went to bed, I think, about 11 o'clock, didn't we?
Something like that, yeah, not particularly early.
And it wasn't particularly early, but not too late.
No.
But about 1 o'clock, Ellie woke up, and I think I heard this as well. There was like thumping music.
Yeah, my best description, dum, 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 sort of music, really loud car stereo, which suddenly went off.
Yeah, and I think in my sort of sleepy state, I thought, oh, good, it's gone off.
It's gone, they've left, or whatever.
But it woke you up, didn't it?
Yeah, and I got up and went to use the bathroom.
Yeah. And while Ellie was in the bathroom, I'm sort of laying there, sort of pretty well asleep, really. And suddenly there was this almighty bang. Oh, it was chilling. It was horrendous.
It's like the end of the world. It really felt like it, didn't it?
First of all, I thought a tree branch, a big branch, must have fallen on the roof.
Yeah, it was so loud.
And then I thought, well, hang on, I deliberately put the van in a position where it wasn't under a tree. So it wasn't that. Anyway, I was getting up and quickly getting dressed. I wanted to get out there and see what had happened. I was really worried because I didn't know what had happened, and I thought he might get attacked or something. I didn't know. It was really scary, wasn't it? Yeah. So I stepped outside, and the first thing I saw out on the ground in front of the motorhome were 2 big house bricks.
Which hadn't been there before, had they?
No,
we would have noticed them.
And I started to look round, and meanwhile Ellie had spotted that the passenger side window was broken. So I thought, oh yeah, we've been attacked. It was so violent though.
Really
I had a look round
scary.
the motorhome, and I could see the front windscreen was cracked in about 4 places, but not. You could still use it. It was just cracks, you know.
Big cracks, yeah.
But the passenger side cab door was completely stove in. It was just shards of glass
everywhere, all over the seat, the floor, going through the door, and everything.
It was pouring with rain.
Yeah. It was like
That's
a muddy car park.
Yeah, it was a bit muddy, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was awful, wasn't it? We were just stunned. We just didn't know what to do. So what we've decided to do anyway is I just picked up the camera. I suppose it's just what you do, isn't it? Maybe for evidence, and you just get on with it. And I've filmed some of what the aftermath of what actually happened, so that we're going to share that with you. So it's rough and ready. We've not really cut it or edited it. To be honest, we don't have the heart to do it. We're just putting out there what we actually filmed, and it will explain, I think, to you what happened. And we'll come back to you once we've shown you that.
Yes. So I won't say enjoy, but roll the video.
Yeah, let it do the hard work, because we don't really want to be talking about it too much at the moment. We're pretty fed up. Just can't believe it. We've just been woken up with a loud bang, and you dropped something on the floor there. Or was that glass? 2 bricks. And someone's just smashed Merlin's windows while we were sleeping. So no, we don't recommend this as a place to stop. They smashed the windscreen, but Graham's hoping he can drive with that. But here's us in the middle of nowhere, with a broken window and a cracked windscreen, about 200 miles from home. So, pretty awful really. Just don't know what to do. I'm still in shock, literally. Just, we heard this really loud boom, 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 boom music, because we think it was just boy racers. And suddenly the music went quiet, and it was just loud bang, and Graham reckons there was 2 of them, because the bricks hit the van at the same time. And it's pouring with rain. I don't know how we're going to get home. Anyway, I've got to try and sort this out now.
On there.
Yeah. Oh God, it's all falling down in the door. God knows how.
Trying to stop it getting any worse.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand. No, yeah, don't park here. You'll get your van vandalised.
Right, well, we're going to get going.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your help, and safe travels for you as well. Thank you. You've been a real help. Did you want me to make a hot drink or not bother?
No, I don't bother. I just want to get away from you.
Yeah, in case they come back. I doubt they will. They're not brave enough to do that. But they might if they think you've gone back to...
Yeah, quite a shock that. Really was quite a frightening moment. First of all, I thought a branch had fallen off a tree onto Merlin, but then I thought, well, hang on, we're not under a tree. So that's when we found out what had really happened. Shakes your confidence in wild camping though, that's for sure.
Yeah, doesn't it just? So the people in this camper van, we don't even know their name, bless them, were absolutely lovely. They're moving on too. They had some black bags and some Gorilla Tape, so we've Graham's taped up the windows. I'm just hoping that it holds till we get home.
No, not really, but what can you do?
I just want to get out of here now. We'll probably stop up the road and make a cup of tea or something, but for now we just want to go. So upset. I mean, I know I'm glad that we're all okay, and that's the main thing. But what a horrible thing to do. I wouldn't recommend this place as an off-grid.
The door's open, if you could stop it. Must have been loud fire.
Yeah. I thought it was a tree branch hitting the roof or something.
Yeah. In some ways, if we get away with it just being the glass.
I know, I'm trying to work out. How can you see though?
What?
How can you see out here? I can't.
How can I see?
See? How can you see to drive?
I don't use that window really, do I? You'll have to lean forward at junctions.
Okay.
There's not many junctions on the way.
No, if we stay on the inside lane or something, I don't know, just pootle home.
Yeah.
I certainly wouldn't go fast because you could just rip it off.
So thanks to Jake, we've managed to make a temporary repair. Thanks Jake, you're a legend mate. So we've made our temporary repair. Well, this is the second temporary repair. I've got just enough room there to see my rear view mirror, so we should be safe to go. We won't be going very fast though.
Put the radio on, but it's probably best we listen to what's going on with the window. So we seem to be stopping at every service area. The repair's holding up okay-ish. I've just stuck it down again. Unfortunately, the old McDonald's tape isn't quite as strong as Gorilla tape, so where the wind's blowing on the leading edge, sort of here, outside here, because this glass is okay, that's the bit that's really vulnerable. It was folding back. And Graham obviously needs to have this bit because he's got to use his mirrors so he can see what's happening on the inside lane. So he's just gone on the hunt. A guy called Jake at McDonald's, bless his heart, gave us 2 clear bags and a big roll of this tape, but obviously we had to give him back what we didn't use. So Graham's trying to track down some more tape so we can repair it again. He's driving really slowly, which is quite scary in itself. He's not going faster than about 47 miles an hour, and this is on the motorway. The motorway is the safest place for us to be, which might sound a little bit strange, but because of visibility on the left-hand side, it's safer that we stay in the inside lane. There's not so many decisions to be made. We're just sort of hugging the left-hand lane, really. So we've still got 103 miles till we get home, and it's saying 1 hour 57 minutes, but that I think is at 70 miles an hour, so I reckon it'll be another 2 hours, maybe 2.5 hours before we get home, and that's if we don't have to keep stopping. So it's got us to thinking, you know, do we want to do this sort of wild camping anymore, this off-grid? Right now we're both very shaken up by it, and it's, you know, we try to be really careful where we park, and I did quite a lot of research on search for sites before we chose where we parked this evening. So you can really beat yourself up thinking, should we have done this? Could we have made a better choice? You know, there was another motorhome parked up where we were, and it could have just as easily been them, you know. There were no bad reviews for the site, no evidence of anything that we saw that made us think it wasn't a good place to stop. The only thing that I think maybe I've learned from this is try to park up in the daylight, because we parked up when it was dark. You know, we couldn't really check to see if there was evidence of, say, drugs, or, you know, were we disturbing someone who we irritated, and then they came back and did that. Whereas if you were there in the daylight and there was evidence of things like that, you possibly wouldn't stop there. So yeah, as I say, we're both pretty shaken up. We just want to get home now. But yeah, should it affect what we do in the future? I think right now it affects us quite a lot, you know, as to what we might or might not do. And as I say, we need to reflect on what can we learn from this. Did we put ourselves at risk, or was it just a random act of vandalism that could have hit anybody? We really don't know. Yeah, it's an interesting one. So, I'm sorry, I'm having trouble actually speaking. It's, you know, it could have been a lot worse. It could have been the dogs got hurt. And Graham said, what if we'd had a little baby in the van or something like that? They didn't know, and they're throwing bricks at it. You know, what if the dogs had got hurt? What if they'd got us? You know, what a horrible thing to do. It really does shake you. But yeah, hopefully we'll get home all right. I was a bit worried when we stopped at one of the other service areas. There were 2 police cars, and they were sort of the policemen were hanging around. They didn't come and see us, but I do think they possibly might have done a check on the van to make sure it wasn't stolen. I think they probably did do that, because but they didn't come over. I thought they might. But yeah, just feel sorry for poor old Merlin as well. So I'm sorry if I've been rambling on, but I did want to share this with you, as it sort of happens really. And here's Graham.
Hello.
Did you track down some tape?
I've got some parcel tape.
Oh!
So whether that would do.
So we've had Gorilla Tape from the man in the motorhome.
Shall I go and see if they've got Gorilla Tape over there
You can.
Let me go and have a look.
I don't want to leave the van, I need a wee, but I don't want to leave the van like it is. So yeah, you do that, and then I'll have a wee when you get back.
Yeah.
All right. I think I overshared there a bit, but basically I'm scared to leave Merlin with your broken window. And I don't want to leave the dogs on their own either. So they seem all right. Maya's panting. I don't know if that's just because she doesn't want to be in the van, or whether she's got delayed shock. They took it all very well when it happened. They were on the bed, and yeah, they didn't seem more shocked than when it's a storm or rain or something. They seemed okay. But Maya's panting, which is obviously not a good thing. You all right, Maya? She's a good girl. It's okay. Luna's just washing her paws, oblivious of it all. So you probably heard Graham's found some parcel tape. which is brilliant. I don't know if he bought it, stole it, or I mean, as I say, people have been very, very helpful. Jake in McDonald's was amazing, gave us some plastic bags and some of their food. I think it's the stuff they, when food goes off, they bag it up and tape it up. And Graham's just over there looking for some Gorilla Tape. If not, it'll be parcel tape. Wing and a prayer. Not the sort of thing you find in a petrol station, really, Gorilla Tape. Need a Halfords. Hang on. Right, okay.
Well, I've never been overtaken by so many vehicles in my life. I'm trying to keep to about 40-45 miles an hour so that the temporary window doesn't blow out. So it's a long drive home.
Yep.
Bit of mirror. I can see it's safe to drive, but it's, I have to duck right down to see it.
The incident itself happened, I think about 1:08 It's when I looked at my phone, and it's now 4:40. So, as Graham says, a long drive home. We're trying to crack on while the road's relatively quiet, because it'll only get harder the more traffic that joins the motorway. So we just got to keep going really and get home as quickly and safely as we can. I say quickly, but not driving quickly, if you know what I mean. Just going through Birmingham at the moment. That'll be quite good when this is behind us. About all the various service areas on the way going south, shouldn't we, Gray?
Yeah, we should. We've seen most of them now, haven't we?
We have. This is our 4th stop to
patch up the window.
Yeah.
Where did you do with the tape?
It's in the back of the seat, and the scissors are in the second drawer down. What's happening there is that the tape sort of gets lashed by the wind and sort of lifts off the glass. And there, but we can't lose any more of this really, because that's where Graham's got to look through. Quite lucky that we also have the other window by the sink, so he's got some clue if there's, you know, it helps him to see if there's traffic to the left of him. And stop number 5. Repairs again, darling?
Yes, more repairs.
More repairs. So, it's 6:37. No, tell a lie. It's 5:37. Saying 1 hour 4 minutes till we get home, but it won't be, because that's based on 70 miles an hour.
Just going to walk over there and have a pee, darling.
Okay.
Won't be a sec. All
right, darling. goodness, what an epic journey that was.
So you can see it was quite horrendous. One thing I didn't explain, this was definitely predetermined that they were going to do this, because obviously they came in a car. The other people in the other motorhome said that they heard the car screeching away. I didn't hear that, but they said they did. So I suspect there was at least 4 people, because we found 3 bricks and there's 3 impact points on the van. There's the front window, the side window, and behind the fridge, on just behind the sliding door on the bodywork. But I only heard one enormous bang. So I'd imagine that they'd synchronised that they were going to throw these bricks all at the same time, and they did.
That's why it's so loud, I think.
Yeah. And then they, within, I don't know, half a second, I slid my window up and I was looking out the window and I couldn't see anything. And I could see trees. Yeah, if somebody had been moving in my vision, I would have seen it. But I saw nothing.
It must have been pretty quick, and we were sort of parked round a corner. It's hard to explain, but they could have quickly run away and round the corner where we wouldn't have seen them. I mean, it was so loud, it woke the people up in the other motorhome. They came rushing over to see if we were all right. The sound
that was a bit of a moment, because I just stepped back in and then there was a knock at the door. I thought, who is it?
Yeah.
You know, and it was a friendly bloke trying to help
us, and they were amazing. The couple were brilliant, to be fair, weren't they?
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was bad. But of course, I mean, we have started to put things right at a practical level, haven't we?
The insurance company, it's Comfort Insurance, isn't it, that we use?
Yes.
Although we've been dealing with Aviva, that's the actual underwriter, and they've been brilliant, very, very helpful.
Yeah.
We've already had the windscreen replaced and the window replaced. And I didn't tell you, I've got a date booked for the bodywork to be looked at. It's provisional at the moment.
Is it with the man who did the thing?
No, it's their own company you have to use. 28th of November.
Oh, brilliant. And I mean, obviously in the meantime, the van is usable. It's a dent, but it's, I wouldn't like to say it's cosmetic, but it's cosmetic in the sense that the van is secure and safe to use with that dent where it is. Yeah.
I didn't notice that dent to start with, because the sliding door covers it.
Yeah, and it was so dark, wet and horrible. The weather, it couldn't have been worse, could it, with the rain driving into the van and everything.
And you've seen what it was like driving home.
Yeah, you've seen the vlog, you know, the content of the vlog now. So at a practical level, we are getting past this. As I say, Merlin's safe and secure. He, you know, back on the drive. Those sort of things are falling back into place. But it has really left us both very shaken. I would say I'm pretty traumatised by it, to be honest with you. If you've watched the vlogs from the beginning, you'll know that the reason we have Merlin is because I have PTSD. And essentially, it means that I'm not very good in strange places. So I kind of take my home with me, and Merlin is my safe place, just like my house. And it has enabled me to have a whole different life that I didn't ever think I'd ever get back. And to have that violated in such a way to make Merlin feel unsafe has really, really upset me. I don't actually know what we're going to do. And you feel the same in that sense, don't you, Graham?
Yeah, very much do. It's not, we don't dislike going to sites. It's just that it's not what we really would choose to do. We like to plan our own time and just go where we like.
We like the challenges of the environment, and that has been a great learning curve for me, because I've become very much that I need to be in control of things in order to manage my symptoms. And Merlin has really helped, because when we've gone to places that are wild and windy or freezing cold, or, you know, those elements, I sort of feel I'm getting more comfortable with being in that environment, and it's really helped me mentally to do that. I'm also I quite like the peace and quiet. You know, I sort of need quite a lot of time to be quiet, and that going off grid has actually, that's the benefits that it's given us, really, is that ability to do that.
And we like peace and quiet. We like going to remote places, usually not even just rural, but right out in the middle of nowhere.
You will have seen it in our other vlogs when we go to Skye, and you'll see when eventually we get the Arran stuff out there, you'll see that it's all quite remote where we've been. But we don't know
in
now.
one way, the quietness is worse because that was very quiet, wasn't it?
It was. It looked idyllic. I mean,
and
it was
suddenly,
perfect.
bang!
So
it wasn't idyllic anymore.
You know, and there's nothing. There's nothing we can change. It's like saying, well, you shouldn't have done that because that's what caused this to happen. You were a bit daft doing this. Graham has mentioned the one thing that we were a little bit uncomfortable with, which is that we arrived after dark. You know, had we seen maybe evidence of drug taking and syringes or something, we may have moved on if it had been daylight, for example. But that's kind of the only thing we can think of that would have made us maybe make a different decision. You know, the reviews were good. It was said it was a peaceful place, easy walk to the pub, great for dogs. You know, it was just, you know, motorhomers who'd been there before had said it was a really good place to go. And because of that, that sort of throws into doubt your ability to make a safe decision.
Yeah,
you know?
What we did wrong was just go wild camping.
Yeah, it's become something that, is it wrong to do that?
Yeah.
It's really made us question whether it's the right thing to do, and yet it's our main reason for having Merlin. It's the thing that gives us the greatest pleasure, and it's just left us really numb. I mean,
yeah,
you're really upset by it, aren't you? Everything, we're really jumpy. I mean, Graham took the dogs out last night just to the park, and there were a couple of people standing there.
Yeah, there were two people standing there, and I thought, what are they doing?
Yeah, you wouldn't normally
then
think that.
The woman, after 2 or 3 seconds, just said, "Oh, don't worry, I'm a bit worried about my dog might growl at your dogs." I thought, oh yeah, that's fine. But my immediate reaction was not normal. It was, what are those two people doing there? I didn't even see their dog. And that's not me, you know.
Yeah. It's made us so jumpy and worried about everything. We've talked it through. We've said, how would we feel the first night we're off grid, and we don't know that we could even sleep, because up until this point we've thought, we've not heard of anyone that this has ever happened to, and we just thought it's all infinitesimally rare that something like this would happen.
I'm sure
but we haven't heard of it, and now it's happened to us. And so, you know, those things do happen, and it's something to be frightened of, and we just don't know how we're going to get past it. It might mean we've looked at the whole range of, do we sell the van? I mean, we've looked at, do we try and power through it and actually see if we can overcome this and still go off grid? Do we go to CL sites? Do we go to big campsites? Do we literally change what we do? Do we use the van as a day van and not stay away? And all of those thoughts are running through our head at the moment, and we haven't made a decision, and I don't believe it will be right to at this early stage, because we're still very upset by it. But another reason, I know this is probably scaring some of you out there who go off grid a lot of the time as well, you know, and we don't mean to do that and say, oh, you know, please don't do it. It is a very rare thing, but it does have a really big effect if it ever happens to you.
Yeah,
and we also
does.
think we need to be fair to you and say, look, this has happened. It wouldn't be very good if we didn't tell you what's happened to us, and then something like that happened to you. So just be careful, you know. I mean, we were careful. That's the worrying thing.
I mean, before this, my biggest worry would be that sort of midnight someone would knock on the door and say, what are you doing here? You shouldn't be here. Can you leave? You know.
Yeah.
That was my biggest worry. Suddenly it takes on a whole different complexion when you're thinking about that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's lots of other YouTubers that we watch. I won't mention their names, but a lot of them go to the same sort of place that was. And I think, you know, I hope,
could have been them.
Hope to God nothing happens to them.
Yeah.
But it could just as easily, you know.
Yeah. And we think it was a random act of vandalism, youngsters just probably egging each other on, you know, just thinking, yeah, let's just do this, like kids do sometimes. You know, But the fact it was so very random, you know, it could have been the other motorhome. Thank goodness it wasn't, you know, because they were older than us. And, you know, some poor soul could have had a heart attack with what happened. And they were packing up and left as well. They didn't stay. They'd had enough. You know, they were frightened by it as well. So yeah, this is the thing. You know, it's something that we don't know how we could prevent it other than not going off grid, because that risk won't go away, will it? You know.
We really don't know what we're going to do.
No, no, we don't.
At the moment, right now, I feel like maybe visiting CL sites and you know, just going out for the day and then back to the CL site at night might be the best option.
Yeah.
I'd quite like to get some method of taking Ellie's trike with us, so that we could go to places and, you know, go cycle canal paths and that sort of thing. So maybe we're going to change what we do.
But we also, in the same breath, we feel very robbed of something that we were really sensible about. We're not stupid. We don't park in dodgy places. In fact, there was a dodgy place, wasn't there, just off the ferry port, and we carried on driving because
we didn't use that one.
It was a search for sites one, but it just looked really rough, and there was a fair and everything nearby, and we just thought, no, let's just drive on. You know, we're quite intelligent in that sense that we don't put ourselves at risk. And I think that's what's made it feel worse. We can't sit here and say, well, if we hadn't done that, you know, it's our own fault. No way is it our fault. No way is it our fault. And yet we...
Well, it is our fault if you say that's a risk with going off grid.
Yeah, fair point.
But, you know, I keep thinking, what have we done wrong? But at the end of the day, these arseholes, they have broken the law. We haven't broken any law. We were allowed to be there.
Yeah. It wasn't a no overnight. There was nothing there.
Premeditated. They've gone away. They've turned up with bricks in the car.
Yeah.
And they made a plan. And they've attacked us. Yeah. They've attacked a 45, 50 grand motorhome.
Yeah.
And that's criminal. So I keep thinking, we shouldn't really be blaming ourselves, but we do.
Well, to the point that if you're going to live off, go off grid, that's the risk you take, and that is the question that we need to ask ourselves. You know, if we go off grid, would we ever be brave enough to do it again? Because it's like lightning, isn't it? Once it struck you, it's not supposed to strike twice, but
it's not that we mind going to sites. I mean, just recently we went over to Weston-super-Mare with Pearl, the CV20, and we had a lovely couple of days, didn't we?
Yeah, we do that.
That was really nice. Yeah, at face value, you'd say, well, we don't really go to sites, but that was nice. So maybe we're going to have to do more things like that.
But what we don't know until we can sort our heads out is whether that's enough for us, whether that hits the spot in the way that the life we had hit the spot. That, you know, for me, the experience of being up a hill or a mountain when I feel like it was priceless, and I feel that I've been robbed of that. I know you can still go out for walks up mountains and hills, don't get me wrong, but that whole lifestyle of being out in the wild, then coming back to the van and it's all cosy and you feel safe, and you know, that contrast and everything, that's what it was all about. That's quite a big thing to sacrifice, to lose, and we just don't know. But both of us have said, even places we know to be pretty safe, like at your brother's lay-by or whatever, how would we feel there? And you were saying, I don't even think I'd feel safe sleeping there now. It's just really ruined it for us at the moment, hasn't it? And I just don't know how we're going to get through it, really. Anyway, I think that's about it.
Yeah, we're rambling on, repeating ourselves as we often do.
But we bear with us, because, you know, we felt that we want to share as much of this with you as possible. It's important, actually, because a lot of you are out there doing precisely this, and just take care. Whatever you do, take care on that road.
And thanks again for all the messages. That's really helped a lot.
Yeah, it's really helped. You know, there's been a few people out there saying, don't let the boo win, you know, you've got to just don't let them win, don't let them rob you of the life you love, and you know, they're right, really. It's just, you know, that randomness of it is what has scared us. We didn't put ourselves in a position where that should have happened, really, other than going off grid, you know, and that's all we did wrong, if you like. So we don't quite know what we'll be doing next week. We have got some vlogs in the pipeline, and we may decide to go back to editing those and back to normal next week. We don't really know at this point. We're just going to see how we feel over the next few days.
Yeah, I must admit, I've got a lot of stuff from Arran, and when we went up there, some nice drone stuff as well. I don't really feel like editing it.
No, neither of us do. It's just totally put us off the whole thing right now. You know, I mean, we're sat in Merlin, which is, you know, it's not Merlin's fault. Merlin's lovely, and thank goodness none of us were hurt. The dogs weren't hurt, and no one actually got into the van or stole it or anything. We're safe.
Yeah.
We're well. You know, thank God. You know, very grateful for that. But yeah, but we're not right.
Okay, guys, we'll catch you soon.
God bless.